Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, where we have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively. At the same time, we use the platform to promote positive news, people and places. I am Dr. Kemi Adebayo, known as Dr. Mama K, and in today's program to share our amazing story is the inspirational and compassionate Miss Ruth Kamau. She is based in Cape Town, South Africa. She's the managing director and owner of Ikaya Lodge and Conference Center. And what an honor, what a privilege to be with her. You're welcome to Impact Africa, Ruth. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you, Dr. Mama K. I'm so pleased to be here, and the honor is mine because, for you to have approached me, it means a lot to me, and so I'm very thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start from the right beginning.
Okay.
Who is Ruth? Where was Ruth born? Where did Ruth school? Life growing up. Can you just share with us?
Who is Ruth? Let's see. Okay, so Ruth Kamau was born in Kenya, in Nairobi, but I was born in a hospital in Nairobi. But my parents owned a farm in Red Hill, Limuru, which is about 30 minutes out of Nairobi as you approach the highlands. This is a really lovely area, quite chilly. I like it. I like the freshness of the area. So my parents moved there just a few months before I was born. So my other siblings may have had younger growing up in Nairobi, but okay. I never grew up in Nairobi. So my younger brother and I, all our lives.
What's your position? Let's go first to where do you...
I'm second last born.
Second last, okay. All right. I know it's always tricky. It's always first, last, that people, know. And no, second last.
No. Me, I'm second last, and my position was obvious. There was no mistaking that I was in the house. It's okay. I'm fine.
I like the way you said second last.
Yes.
This is a first for me because a lot of people, how many are you?
We were born 7 children.
7. So a lot of people might go number 3 out of 7. But you are starting from almost last. You're second last. Special. Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us more, about life growing up.
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm. Mm-hmm. My mom was the farmer. My father worked in admin. He was, at the time of my birth, he was the General Secretary of the National Council of Churches of Kenya. He was the first African General Secretary of the organization. And he loved what he did. My dad loved, the organization was designed to be like, create harmony with the churches, so have the place where they can meet and have discourse, but also start establishing ecumenical, I think that's the word, where the different churches get together and they open different things to help society. So whether it was a center for training people, it's post-independence Kenya, so there's a lot of work to be done. And my mom loved farming. She always loved farming.
I really want to ask about that one because for your mom to have been a farmer,
yes.
And I know, is she still alive?
My mom rested in December, past December.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, yeah, my parents were blessed with long, vibrant lives, so we're very grateful. My dad rested at 92 and my mom was 93.
Wow, that's really long life.
Yeah. So hopefully we have the genes.
I'm sure you definitely do have the genes, trust me.
Hopefully.
So for her being a farmer and at that age, was it a conscious decision?
Very conscious.
Okay.
My mom was very intentional, and I think that's what actually came out of her funeral, which was this month. Was everybody who spoken about my mother was like she was almost fearsome in her focus. Right? So you can understand the kind of mother I had, right? So she believed in hard work. My parents both believed in hard work, integrity, values, about family and that sort of thing. But my dad was a serial entrepreneur. So on one side, he's the admin guy, but he likes starting up little businesses. So he started a dry cleaning business. He started a couple of restaurants that were successful, And, Dr. Kemi, the thing is to Dr. K, the thing to remember is that these people didn't have Pinterest. They didn't have Instagram. They didn't have Facebook, right? This was pure imagination. Wow. They didn't even have books coming from wherever. Is just really solid self-belief.
Yeah.
And then they came out and did these amazing things. And so with my mom, she was a serious manifester. That's one thing I can say about my mom. And that's one of the things that I would really, really, really like to inherit from her, is that when she says she's going to do something, she puts her energy into it and not just does it, but makes it a really good success. So she became a serious farmer. My mom, when she was a young lady, she had, my grandfather had cows and sheep and that sort of thing. So she was privileged in that sense that her parents had given her that exposure. But because of her interest, my grandfather actually gave her some sheep.
Okay.
And you couldn't touch those sheep and goats, They were hers. Okay? So then when she got married and everything and moved to the country, my mom became a serious farmer. So there was a time in my life when the farm was really at its prime. So that might have been when I was in university, around there. So maybe from the age of 12 till the age of about 30. When my mom was really strong and everything, and considering I'm the second last, right? And at any one time we had 500 pigs.
Wow.
We had like 40 cattle, 40 sheep. She became so successful with the pigs that she built an abattoir on the farm, and the company used to come and collect the pigs from the farm. And she put up a mill because she needed to mill her own flour. And so then she decided, because my mom is about monetizing, you can't just have a dream. If it's not going to make it money, throw it out. Just go and get another dream. She's not interested. And so then the mill was like, people would come from the neighborhood, and guess who was given that job? Me, which was to stand there and do the milling for the people. But from those skills on the farm, because we all worked on the farm.
Oh.
We all worked on the farm. So from those skills of working on the farm, we learned how to manage time, how to do anything. You're not bothered if you're shoveling pig swill or whatever, or whether you're working on a tidier job, which is like the mill, which is just, making sure people's grain is milled properly. You learned that there are different things that appeal to your different parts of you, and you can develop good management skills, people skills, time skills, work ethic skills.
Right.
And so that's the setup that I grew up in.
Interesting. I could even do a show on all that. I really would have wanted to.
Yeah, but we would be talking about my mother.
I know, right? But she's left a good legacy.
100%.
For you. Really,
for each and every one
well.
of us.
Exactly.
Each and every one of us.
So let's go now to, what did you study? And I heard earlier you speaking French, and I was shocked. I'm like, I didn't know she could speak French. I know you probably can speak Swahili.
No. So what happens in Kenya, when we were growing up, we had a fantastic educational system. So it was 7-3-4-2. So 7 years of primary school, 7 years of primary school, 4 years of high school, and 2 years of upper high school. So, and then 3 years of, A levels. We had A levels, and then 3 years of university. Okay, so that was like the basic. So Kiswahili was compulsory since primary school.
Okay.
And what happened was, because we are a very integrated society, actually, I find that Kenya is very blessed in that way. You have, maybe your housekeeper is from a different language. So the one thing that allows you all to communicate is Kiswahili, because it's the national language. So post-independence, they chose Kiswahili to be the national language of Kenya, right? Because we have I think now we are like 50 ethnic groups, if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a lot. So you can't have everybody's, but the one language that unites. So all government employees, if you want to stand for office, you have to learn to speak Kiswahili. So English was the language of business. So by the time you went to school, you could speak your mother tongue, you could speak Kiswahili, and then you learned English at school if you hadn't learned it at home. So then I did Kiswahili up until my O levels, but I was introduced to French at first form. So most schools had French, and then some schools had German, like my sister learned German.
Okay.
So other languages like Italian and Spanish
Portuguese,
they were in
like
very
that.
small, the really elite schools, or you could learn it privately. So I started there, but I chose Kiswahili for my O levels, and then I continued with French privately.
I see.
Yeah.
No, well done.
Thank
So
you.
what did you study?
Oh, hi. So my O levels, I'm an art student, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Mats and I are not the best of friends. I really tried to befriend Mats, but he was like, no, no, not you. But the thing is, I do have enough maths to run a business.
Okay. I'm sure you do.
So that's the most important thing. So I didn't do science subjects for my A levels.
Okay.
From 5 and 6, I did Christian religious education, I did history, I did geography, and I think I did literature, yeah. Then in university, I did a business degree, but because I didn't want to, we called it tarmacking that time, where you go looking for a job, door to door, hitting the tarmac. So because I didn't want to tarmac, I told my dad, I don't want to go to the University of Nairobi. I want to go to Kenyatta University because I want to learn to be a teacher, because teachers always have jobs.
Oh.
And he was like, okay, kind of makes sense. So I went to Kenyatta University, and I had a wonderful time there. And so I did, my business degree had a bias in education, because you're taught how to teach the subjects that you're learning. So accounting, shorthand, business English, and I think history, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's what I did for the undergraduate.
Okay, let's go now back to the fact that as a Kenyan, for you, what are you mostly proud of? I know some of it you've shared, and I could see even you talking about the farming, the language.
Yeah.
What are you mostly proud of as a Kenyan?
As a Kenyan, just being Kenyan.
I love that.
I just love it. I just love it.
And I love Kenya as well.
Do you?
That's why today, see, I'm even wearing,
Jumbo Kenya.
Jumbo Kenya. I'm even wearing, my Kenyan, proudly Kenyan, top.
Thank you. Thank you. It just agrees with me.
Awesome. I love that.
I don't know how else to explain it.
No, that's enough.
See, I consider myself an African, right? So Africa is my standing place. So I have had the pleasure of living in different countries and working in those countries. But you know how you feel rooted?
Yes.
Like when you walk, your feet are down.
Firmly down on the ground.
Down, and it's like the ground receives you. Every time you step, it's receiving you, and it receives you, but at the same time, it levitates you. So it lifts you up, and so it's very interesting. So I really do feel that on the continent.
Outside. So
that doesn't matter where I am.
Yeah. Now, South Africa.
Yeah.
When and why did you relocate?
So I originally came to South Africa because it was one of the relocations that what I received with the company that I was working with. So they had relocated me previously to Uganda, and then they relocated me to Uganda post 1994 because a lot of companies, this is an American firm, and a lot of companies were coming to South Africa because it was the new kid on the block, and everybody wanted to be here and put their head office here. Poor Nairobi, we were losing people, offices to Johannesburg. So so that's why I was relocated.
What year was that? You said post.
So I relocated so I started coming here for work from around 1997, and then they relocated me in 1999. And so I was based in Johannesburg. So I worked out of there. I was with the NutraSweet company, but I kept my portfolio, which was Sub-Saharan Africa. So I was still traveling to Nigeria, Uganda, Sudan, DRC.
So how many African countries have you been to?
Not enough.
Roughly? Not enough.
Yeah.
Okay. More than half.
I can't know.
More than half? No, not yet.
No, which is very sad.
Okay.
Actually, wait. Maybe.
Because if you've walked across Africa.
I've done half.
Okay.
Maybe I've done half, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm the same. Not enough.
Not enough. I want to travel to literally. I hope my desire is to visit every single country on the continent. Yeah, that would make me very happy.
Maybe you drag me when
yeah,
you're
maybe
going.
you drag me and I drag you, and between the two of us,
we'll go.
Yeah, I just, it's such an amazing continent. It has such diversity. Whether you start with the people or the fauna and the flora, it's just amazing. And, and it's just the landscapes are incredible. The energy is different from one nation to another, And so when I used to travel for work and people would say, oh, you're from Africa. I was like, okay, let's be a little bit more specific. I am from Kenya. I'm not going to try and embrace the Malian energy. Excuse me, I know how to do Kenya. So that's what I'm going to do today and every day. And yeah.
There's a lot of awareness raising needed for that. Are you from Africa? Or you're from Africa?
Yeah.
Thinking Africa is one country.
No.
But
it's a continent. And it's a very big continent. The maps were not drawn in a way that makes
don't
Africa...
let's even go into that one.
Not. Okay.
Because if we go into that one, we'll be here. We'll be all there. But you know what? On that note, we'll be right back. Wow, Ruth, born in Kenya, second of the last, and with amazing, hardworking parents who have lived a long life of impact.
Thanks God.
And and I know the legacy is already living through you.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Well done.
Amen.
Even with some of what you've shared.
Thank you.
And for you just loving being a Kenyan and what you shared about being an African, it resonates, very well with me. So now let's go back to Ikaya Lodge here now and Conference Center. Yeah. Why the hospitality?
Why the hospitality? I think it actually starts because I'm second from the last, okay? Do you know how many times I was sent? Everybody used to send me. I sit down to do something. Oh, Ruth, can you get me? Oh, Ruth, do you want to? Oh, Ruth, you just get used to being sent, Everybody had license to send me. And then my younger brother couldn't send me. But don't you want to do 4? Don't you want to do 4? So, because he's 7 years younger than me. So he was little.
Wow. So you almost were the last.
Hello. Coup d'etat, It was, I was usurped. The last and a girl. Do you know how special that is?
I know, right? Okay.
Then the last came and he was a boy. So, I think that it comes from there. I really enjoy people. I enjoy speaking to people. I enjoy meeting new people. And I think, I must say, my siblings, if they, when they hear this, they'll go like, really? But I must say that my siblings were never awful. So they must have sent me around. I know they'll be very disappointed because maybe some of them really wanted to show that they're the boss and everything. They kind of missed the mark because I think they were still kind. And because of that, I don't hate being sent and fetching and caring for people. And so that's how I ended up liking hospitality. Right. So honestly, I enjoy being hospitable. And because my parents were very sociable people, they would have people over a lot. And the people would come at 12 o'clock and leave at 12 o'clock. So there's somebody who's going to be running the whole time, and
it happened to be
right. So because that's what he's saying. No, I've cooked. No, I swept. So So
what is she doing?
What is she doing? She's the youngest. You're the lightest. Go. And so I enjoy it. I actually seriously enjoy it. And it became a problem when I came here, because when my kids were little, because my daughter was, she turned 3 when we were already invested in this business, and my son was like 8.5 going 9. And so they used to spend a lot of time, because I actually wanted the business to reflect my energy, in the sense of being, okay, it sort of sounds a bit like a dichotomy, because on the one side calm, but on the other side very vibrant. Okay, but so that you feel welcome and you feel like you can enjoy the space, and that we're willing to do for you what we can. But we're not a walkover, so we have kicked people out. I probably shouldn't say that, but it's true, because you have to manage the space. So that's how I ended up. Look, it was a dream. I have to say, my brother, the third born, is my business partner.
Okay.
So he is 7 years older than me, which is quite interesting.
Okay.
But he and I tend to see life pretty much in the same way for some reason. So because of that, we were talking one day, and he was 17 and I was 10, and we were like, oh yeah, we'd like to turn this house into a guest house and do this and that to it. But we thought our parents' house. And then when he came to Cape Town, was living in New Zealand at that time, and he said, oh my goodness, I found it. And he was across the road looking at a property, but like a house, an apartment, and he looked this side and saw Ikaya. And he called me and he said, I found it. And I said, what? He said, what we always talked about. And I said, you're kidding. He said, yes. I said, and then he said to me, so you're in, right? I said, yes, I'm in. He said, okay, now you're in, you can't get out. And so I was like, no, but I don't want to get out. But I had no clue what it was. And he told me, it's a little guest house. It's just little. It will be fine.
And you were in Switzerland. So
I was in New Zealand.
New Zealand, okay. And you didn't know, you didn't have a clue.
I took him at his word.
Okay.
You know? Then I came here
and you're like, with
my children, and I'm like, no. You told me it's a little guest house. And when he sent me obviously, because I had to do the proposal for the bank and everything, because by that time I had done my master's degree in business, in business and everything. So now he was like, okay, you write the feasibility study, you do what? So I'm looking at it and I'm like, little, not little.
It's huge.
It's not huge, but it's not little. And but it's always what we've wanted to do and what I've wanted to do. So I feel very blessed, and that's why I'm here. And God has blessed me with a really good team. I mean, this is not a job that you can do on your own. Look, there's nothing really, I don't believe in self-made anything, because you need other people to help you achieve your dream, and you need customers. But this is a job that, its service is very, very people-oriented. It's not even like an algorithm, I can't write an algorithm to check you in and show you to your room. I mean, they're doing that these days, but it's not the same as having human beings. Yeah.
That is interesting and really fascinating. I wasn't even, aware of that. So, and I know Ikaya means house.
The house of the home in Xhosa.
In Xhosa.
Yeah.
So what are some of the services? So it goes beyond being a lodge and, a conference center. I can see you even do concierge, you do catering. So can you share some of the services that you provide?
So we get away with the name lodge because of the setting.
Right.
So we have very Afrocentric over here. So when you're here, you feel like you're on safari. So we have the latte, eucalyptus rafters. We have the chairs that look a certain way. We have Crit stone on the walls. And, we really drive that. And I can't take full credit for that, because when we bought it in 2006, it was a going concern. So obviously we've changed things here and there, but the basic structure is what attracted us, the safari feel. Because once again, being Kenyan, for us, being on holiday means safari or the coast. And when you go to the coast or go on safari, things look like this, So we gravitated, but it's magic because we are right in the heart of Cape Town. So literally, Dunkley Square is an enclave, and we have this stunning view of Table Mountain and Lion's Head, which is you sit in the patio and you daydream forever. And so I never really get tired of this. And we have a lot of return guests because of our location. And then on top of that, we have the services, as you mentioned. So when people come here, we're a 3-star, but we'd like to pretend that we give 5-star service. Ha, 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 ha.
I'm sure
I
you
actually
do.
said that on record.
I'm sure you do.
Well, we
You have
just
to
love
believe.
people. We
Yes.
just love having people over. So we do birthdays, weddings, because the conference venue, it's a small venue, but for smaller weddings of about 60,
Like how
70
many? Okay,
people,
60, 70.
we do smaller weddings, and then we can transform the space. We hold up to 80 people comfortably in the restaurant.
Right.
At a push, we can do 100, but like I said, it's at a push. So it's a bit tight. Unless we've had a function here for more people, but we had to use the parking. So we had to apply to the city and put tents outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that can be done.
Yeah. As long as the client makes their brief clear and gives, when it comes to work in the city is efficient, but you still have to give them time. And so we do birthdays, weddings, workshops, castings, dinners, lunches, and then we offer our in-house guests breakfast. So that's the one thing that we do guarantee is that you're going to have breakfast with us.
Okay.
But we also have meals that you can let the reception know, and we have an Afro-centric menu. It's called Southeast because it's a bit of East Africa and a bit of South Africa. Yeah. And so we have some basic meals that people really enjoy in the beef, chicken, and vegan, with samosas, chapatis, pap, or gali, depending which part of the world you're from. Yeah, and then we have a full license.
That's awesome. And I can see we've had events here before.
Yes,
and
yes.
I love the memories.
I remember when we met. It was through a birthday party with Nontlantla. Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Yes, absolutely.
This is what happens, after that.
Yeah.
So for you, how has the journey been, or what has been some of the challenges you've experienced or success stories? I know you have a good rapport, with your staff. I could see there, you even said earlier on, these are my daughters.
Oh, they're my
daughters. Which is a good relationship.
Yeah.
So what has been some of the challenges and how did you manage, to overcome them?
So I think, one of the things that I've found very interesting about my life, and I guess that's the purpose for which I came, is many of the roles that I've been involved in, I've been doing them as a first.
Right.
Okay? So
pioneer.
Yeah, and it's not that I set out to be like that. So when I graduated from university, I did teaching for a while at Kianda College, and that's a secretarial school for ladies, and I taught business English, shorthand, that sort of thing, typing, and that sort of thing. And then I said, look, I want to get the experience of the business world. And the first job that I got hired for was they were creating a role for that job, and it was in advertising. And so they created that role, advertised for it. So they had never had anybody do that role before, which in that company, which was for a go-between between the creative and the account service, the people who deal with the clients, because they used to say it was a broken record. Things used to get lost. So I was supposed to listen and be able to regurgitate that information. Did that, enjoyed it immensely, and then left that to go and work for another Kenyan company called Deacons, which I'm not sure if it's still there. And once again, they were creating a new role. And then when I was hired, the Nutriseed company was entering Africa. So once again, it was a new role. There was no one's shoes I was fitting. That's great because you make it your own, right? And also you're given, if you show bravery, you're given so much rope. Yeah. And so so that has been really good for me. And so even when I went to New Zealand, those companies, Pfizer, I worked with Pfizer and Healthrees, and those two companies had never had an African work for them before. So that was exciting as well. So when I came here in 2006, there wasn't, and as far as I know, I stand to be corrected. In the City Bowl, there still isn't a black woman-owned lodge. As far as I know, in the City Bowl. If you go outside Cape Town, of course.
Maybe, yeah.
But in the City Bowl, and it's a distinction that I don't go out looking for. It finds me. But in every single time, because of that, it has its unique opportunities and its unique challenges. But by far, running this business has presented the most unique opportunities and significant challenges of my entire work life. So it's almost like everything that I did before prepared me for this role. Which in a way would give me a lot of peace when I was going through a lot of challenges, because you see, I had never experienced some things that are very specific to South Africa. So the cultural integration is one of the biggest hurdles. It's just a big problem, and I think that's obviously because of the sad history of South Africa with apartheid. So that created unique challenges for me at that level, because I'm going into meetings as a property owner, a business owner, I'm black, I am female, and I'm a foreigner. Wow. Which other box can I tick to just increase my challenges? And so you learn some of the things that I learned through life, like just listening and knowing what you want and being very clear about what you want, and being able to call a spade and not a big spoon. So if somebody is being rude, you just say, I'm sorry, you don't have to speak to me like that. Not being afraid of that. Yeah. You don't have to get angry. You don't have to, I could go and kick my can in my house, but in that particular time, the importance of being composed, those sort of things I learned along the way, but I never really had to use them like I did here. And then my corporate life helped me here, because what I found is there was a lot of mistrust about giving someone like me business. Africans don't keep time. Are we really going to book our events with you? We want lunch at 2 or 1 o'clock and not 2 o'clock, those sorts of things. But because of my corporate experience, I left that area and I went to corporate, who I could speak their language, because I knew what I wanted when I was in corporate, right? Because fortunately, I had levels, I worked in management levels that allowed me to say, this is what I want, please book this for us, we're having a product launch, this is what we're doing. I worked my way up, so I now knew what they want. So instead of them telling me what they would like, I would ask them, would you like X? Would you like Y? And then they realize, oh my goodness, she speaks our language, right? So she understands. And then when they want their tea breaks, I said, do you want it at 10:30, as in 10:30, or do you want it ready at 10:30, but you could run a few minutes later, but you want it ready when you come out? So you can see somebody just, their guard just going down. And that's what really helped us. Right. So I think it was getting people's trust was a big deal. Me learning not to get upset was a big deal. And then also just really trusting that everything that I had gone through, even where I was born, was going to be an asset for me, as opposed to the other way. It wasn't a liability. Yeah. Because, for instance, for me, it doesn't matter if you're white or black. You kind of need oxygen to, you drink water, right? Okay, fine. So that means that there's certain things here we have in common, and they're life-sustaining things that we have in common. So let's cut out all this other, So if you're not being human to me, I'm going to tell you. And so it has helped.
Interesting. My final question before we go into a break just now, and I'm just thinking how to even unpack some of what you've shared there, which is really, really valid. I know you're an entrepreneur and you've gone from corporate, but you had that background even from your dad, like you said, was a serial entrepreneur, even your mom, as well. Yeah. So you've gone from corporate to hospitality industry, and that's growing up, the influence, of all that. But I see that as well, you've been involved in putting back and impacting lives.
Yeah.
Even though like you say, your mom, monetized everything. It's like nothing that does. So you from reading about you, you were the founder member of Hope Street, which was homeless, and as well currently a board member at Breadline. Why did you decide to be involved in such?
It was the way we were brought up. So my mom was very clear about things like that, right? But the one thing they had in common with my dad, once again, like I mentioned, is love for people. So my dad, post 1963, independence and all that, Kenya became like a haven of peace in East Africa, but Uganda was going through its own challenges. And Sudan has gone through challenges for a long time. Ethiopia has gone through challenges for a long time. So there was always refugees. And so my dad's work involved resettling people. So he used to work with WFP, he used to work with UNICEF, with UNHCR, but as the church coming in and, helping build schools. In fact, my younger brother went to one of the first schools that the NCCK was very instrumental in building, which was in northeastern Kenya in Garbatula. So it's called Garbatula High School. And my younger brother went there because my dad was like, it's got to be good enough for my children. Yeah. And so my other siblings went to Mombasa to a school, St. Augustine's. Once again, it was established for, to create community. So they both had that. Now, so much so that my dad brought a young lady, she was in her teens, we were in our teens, with her sister, who are from the Borana tribe. And they're from the northeast, and to come and live with us. Okay? And Rhoda, one of them, is still considered part of our family today. So even when I went home, I go and visit Rhoda. So I went to visit Rhoda. Okay? Then my mom on her side on the farm was the way she treated her team. Is one of the things that I've really got from my mom. So when you hear me say that these are my daughters, it's because you sort of filter people, and then the ones that end up staying with you are the ones who can embody your work ethics and your value system. All right. So then you're not giving instructions; you're working together. You see, and that makes a huge difference. And so then my mom, there was one particular man who came to look after the sheep, very good sheep herder, but he's a nomadic person. So most of the times we found that with the nomadic people, after 3 years, they're like, I need to go somewhere else. So he wanted to go, and he wanted to go with his son. He came with his son when his son was maybe 9 or 8. His name was Rashid, and then now he's leaving. His son is going into his. My mom said, "Going who with where? No, you can go by yourself. You're leaving Rashid here." Oh. So Rashid became part of our family. You see what I'm saying? Just like a brother to me in every other way, except that we're not genetically, and. God rest his soul, he was our brother until he rested. And so now you can't help seeing, okay, this is the way life is done, because they're saying we want this of you. So for me to be involved in setting up a homeless feeding program, it's not
a big deal.
It's not like a big deal. It's not something. Even when I told my family, they were like, "Okay, that's good." It's like, yeah, why wouldn't you be doing something like that? You have to. My brother has a big philanthropic project now in our area.
Right.
He used to frequent what used to be a little village then, but obviously it's grown. And he used to go there, and his mates would hang out there, just kids on the farm. And he's helping put up a school there. And we're proud of him, but we're like, yeah, why wouldn't you if you've got the opportunity? You know what I mean? Yes. So that's how I see this. I don't take it as a time to like polish any armor. I'm being involved in the society. I want to be the change that I want to see, because homelessness is something that I really don't know that it will ever leave us. because there's so many things when you work in with homeless people. There's so many factors that influence why people end up on the street. And so, but then it's good for you to understand. And I brought my children into that at an early age so that they could also understand. It's not just about being intimidated by people who are homeless. It's understanding how this happens and why it's important to give opportunities for feeding, skills, medical, and not money out of your window of the car. Because that especially these days when there's drug abuse and that sort of thing, it can exacerbate the problem.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For that. That's really, really interesting, and well done to you and your team for what you're doing.
Yeah. We stopped with Hope Street because of COVID, because where we used to meet, COVID gatherings. So now when I can, I help with Hope Exchange. They're around the corner from us. There's an organization called Ladles of Love, and I help with them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Yo, Ikaya, the home, the house in Tulsa, and your journey with your brother, finding the place, and you being far away, and coming here, and that journey of hospitality, that you've been doing, and even putting back in the community, and all what you shared in terms of challenges. I'm sure, I can already tell what can be the three things that you personally value.
Oh.
I can already tell. So let me now.
Do you want to tell me?
No, I don't want to, but I can tell. I can tell. And I'll let you know if I'm right.
If you're right, okay.
Okay.
So you want me to tell you?
Yes, please.
The three
share
things
with
that I
us
value.
the three things that you value.
Okay, so I don't know if I've mentioned this, but my faith walk is very important.
I knew that.
So once again, I think family, but then you make a personal decision. Yes. And so my faith walk is very important because I believe that we are all created for a purpose on this earth. And in fact, at reception, we have Jeremiah 29:11, which everybody knows.
Are you sure you're not my sister?
Oh.
Because we've shared something else.
Yes,
And I'm like, that as well is something
sister,
I have. I know, no, as in really, really.
Yes.
No, because that verse is what I wake up with. It's right in front of my bed, as well. Okay, keep going.
And for me, it's an opportunity to talk about things with guests and everything. And you're just right. So that's my faith walk. The second thing is family. It's really important for me. And so how I brought up my children and how I relate with them, and so also my siblings and my nephews and my nieces, and even how I relate with their grandparents, their father's side of the family. That's important to me, to create that circle. And then I think, I don't know now. The third one is they work together maybe. Work ethic and integrity.
Okay.
So, because living your purpose is very important for me. So, to live your purpose, you have to work at it. There's no way anyone can live their purpose without working at it. And so if I think of scripture, I go to the parable of the talents. And I'm like, what is in your hand? It doesn't have to be So work ethic and integrity, and that's really important for me.
Now, what is in your hand? I use it a lot when I'm invited as a public speaker, referencing to Moses, as well.
Yes.
No, we are definitely, we need to talk more.
We are going to talk.
Maybe you're my sister from way back that I didn't really know, even though we are. But I'm just saying too many things. I'm like,
too many
what
things.
is happening?
I love it.
So for you, what motivates you? What keeps you going? And I believe it's partly probably the faith, family.
Definitely. Okay. Especially, for me, the reason why my faith work is so important is because so many promises, and when you start calling them out and you start believing, they start manifesting, and it just, you're like, hey, more, But then, of course, it needs you to continue the faith walk and and do that. And also, it keeps me, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this, let someone else say it, but I will say it this way. It coaches me in working at humility, because remember what I said, that there's no self-made.
Yes. Yes.
I really believe that it's grace upon grace. People say, oh, favor, but for me it's true.
Right.
Because your body is working, grace. You're able to tick the things off that you wanted to do that day, grace. So that motivates me. To tap into that motivates me. It's also those promises and the dreams and the visions, they motivate me. And I want to go for it. And now, as we lay my mother to rest, all I could think of, how she ticked her boxes. And she had a grade 8 education, grade 8 education of 1940 something. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
What am I doing? And so I get so motivated to believe, yes, you can, and then love motivates me, and so I'm motivated by love, first for myself, and not in a selfish way, but in a self-caring, self-loving way, that I can, if I do this, I live my life more fully. But love motivates me in the sense that even with my team here, they know I've got a temper like a flash in the pan.
I'm laughing because I'm like, if somebody were to describe me, they would do exactly what you
know what I mean? It's like, whoa, they used to call me Cape Town weather, because you know how Cape Town weather just changes like this. Because 1 minute she was nice, and then wow, what happened?
I can relate.
You relate? Yeah, because I've gone upstairs and I've seen something and I'm like, how now? But then just the same way, I come down, So love motivates me to understand that, we need to operate from that energy, because that energy is perennial. It just doesn't run out, So yeah.
Wow. Temper, no, I'm like, oh wow.
I'm improving, by the way. I'm improving.
I can relate. Honestly, I really can relate. I'm the same. I'm sure. Anyway, don't let me go there because I'll get into trouble.
You know what, Dr. K? I say, look, my children are living proof that it doesn't go over because they're still alive. They're still alive. They managed to leave the house.
We'll leave that. Yeah, I'll zip, but I get you 100%. So for you, Ruth, though, now with the Kaya Lodge, all what you're doing in the community and the love, as well that you have for staff and, that kind of just grooming and sewing into their lives. What does success mean to you? Would you say now you're successful? Would you say, yeah, that's it? And my follow-on question is a 3-part question, actually. As a leader, because you're leading a team, what are some of the qualities a leader should have, and what does leadership mean to you personally?
So what does success mean to me? I think success means living your purpose. Okay, so you could be in the process of living it fully because, some of these things we are building, it's like knitting a cardigan, right? So you start knitting it. You're living your purpose because your intention is to knit that cardigan. And so as the cardigan evolves, you're still living your purpose. Just because it's not finished doesn't mean you're not living your purpose. But then you make the cardigan, then you have to put buttons on it and everything, so you're still living your purpose. And that to me is success. Because you could be making trousers and that's not what you want to do. And you could, and I don't know that you feel successful even if you make a really good pair of trousers. But if you make a cardigan or you knit a scarf and that's what you really want to do, the sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, you will feel it. So that's success to me. And that, I think, brings happiness. Because I think happiness comes from here. So you don't have to keep getting retail therapy or hanging out with different people. You just actually, I used to say I'm like a pig in mud. I grew up with pigs, so you have to understand where I'm coming from. They like rolling in the mud, and then you're like, oh, I have to clean you up and everything. But anyway, the pig was very happy. So I want to be like that. So when I met Ikaya, I'm happy. I'm successful. Because I'm living my purpose. It was a dream, I'm living it. Then those things, they shoot out roots. And one of the roots that I've experienced here is leadership, right? And I think one of the most important qualities for a leader is empathy.
Right.
Yeah, because it's just easier to sail that ship when you've got empathy on board, So it doesn't, you could be very highly skilled academically or technically, but if you don't have empathy, people can't work for you. They don't feel like you listen. They don't feel like you understand that people are human. They'll have good days, they'll have bad days, or even you have good days and you have bad days, So you have to have empathy for yourself. So that, and then the empathy will bring out the good listener. And the empathy will bring out the perseverance and the resilience because you have empathy, even for yourself. Like, I'm having a bad day. Oh, I shouldn't have forgotten that, but you have empathy for yourself.
I love that. We're going to have a quick break and we'll be right back. Wow, that last segment was, for me, very eye-opening, in terms of how you defined success, what leadership means to you, and, what motivates you, things that you value, most the three things. And I was right on two, to be honest. So, and I'm not surprised, but I'm just saying.
What was the third one?
For that, I put service.
Service, okay.
I put service.
Okay, that's pretty accurate, eh?
I put service.
I agree.
Yeah, because that's what you're doing here, and that's what you did with the NGO. So that was my third one for you.
Yeah.
So which, even though you said work ethics and integrity, I think still things is on the service, for you. So am I right?
Yes, definitely. From that gives me great joy. Service. 100%.
So now we're going now to something still related to that, and I loved, when you said living your purpose.
Yeah.
For me, that's really what draws everything else that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Together, which is what you're doing and what you've achieved, and even when the cameras were not recording, you were even sharing, some of the challenges, for you even still here and relying. On God, and who is allowing you to live your purpose.
Yeah.
So now let me go back to a little bit of, even though you've been sharing your story, but I want you to maybe just in a very compact way, share with us some of the life lessons, the key life lessons that you've learned, from being a corporate or being born in Nairobi, going to the farm, being brought up, just key, lessons that you've learned that you could share with a younger Ruth in Kailisha, that will go, oh, okay, so could you just do that for us? I know you're deep in thoughts.
I am. That's a big one. So I would say to thine own self be true. What do I mean by that? I think it goes back to understanding how it's important to believe in yourself and how it is important to know that you're here for a purpose. And so pray for that revelation and to listen to yourself from a very young age. It's very interesting, but for most people who, I've seen the books that I've read, people say that the things that you gravitate to when between 10 and 15, before you're 16, around there, they speak to your most authentic self. And if you can tap into those things, you're most likely to do that. So that's why I say to thine own self, be true. Don't try and copy or whatever, just be yourself. Even if you're going to do something someone has already done, because you're doing it as you, it will have a unique been.
Right.
The other thing is, I would say, listen. It's so important to listen, because when we listen, we hear ourselves speaking, and then you know whether you're speaking positive things to yourself or you're having a narrative that doesn't serve you.
Okay.
When you listen, you're more likely to learn from other people and take wisdom. So listening is so important. And it gives you a sense of pause if you listen. So you don't rush headlong into things. So another thing that, and I think this came out from the fact that I was born so far down the food chain, is taking advantage of the food chain. So, there are those people who are destiny helpers. And so when they come into your life, you mustn't take them for granted. And some of them will teach you very hard lessons. So meaning it's not going to be a pleasant experience. But they're actually your destiny helpers, because they teach you resilience, they teach you something about humanity, they teach you something about yourself. But then there are those also who are more obvious to all of us, because they come bearing gifts that are very beautiful and nice smelling. But all of them come bearing gifts. And that will help you to, very importantly, not become a bitter and angry person. So that thing of being bitter and angry and a victim and comparing yourself with other people, especially when you're young, is very dangerous. Because once again, you take the lens off yourself, and now you're more focused on other people. Yeah. So I think those are really important lessons that I can tell. And also this, it's underrated, I think. Okay, maybe it's not underrated, but we don't see it so often now. This whole thing about work ethic. People think, I think because of social media, people think that some people just became stars today. If you look in the history of that person, it doesn't matter what it was, who it is, they have worked to get there. So whether it's an actor, a singer, they have put in long hours to get there. And sometimes people don't understand that you need to put in those long hours. And you have been rejected many times. But regardless of the rejection, you keep believing in yourself and your gifting, and you keep going.
Wow. See, I'm writing masterclass. Thank you for that. That is so deep. My final question, if you must know, is one that we've kind of gone through, but I would like to know, apart from you being involved with, people who are homeless or people who are in need, what are some of the social issues, or one social issue for you that maybe you're passionate, about, or would like to see things done about it? And related to that is, what can be done, about it?
I think for me, mentoring and apprenticeships.
Okay.
I don't think in this society we have enough mentoring and apprenticeships. Because, for instance, I volunteer at the Amy Foundation. I started doing that in 2016.
Right.
So they have 4 intakes a year, and they take post-matrics. So the youngest person there is probably 19. And they focus on the youth. So you'll have 30, 32-year-olds there. And it's people who've probably tried their hand at something, or people who haven't had a chance to try their hand at something. So the Amy Foundation has beauty classes, they have hospitality, carpentry, sewing, right? But I go there to teach on, I started teaching on work ethics and customer service. And my teaching was expanded to emotional intelligence and developing your personal power. Because what we realize is that a lot of people just don't believe in themselves. They look around and they see corruption. They look around and they see load shedding. They look, all these things that make them despondent. But they forget to look at themselves and what they can do and what is in their hands, as we spoke. So the Amy Foundation gives them those skills, and I come in to help build the self-confidence.
Right.
So now that, because of what they do there, the people who are then hired from the Amy Foundation, as an example, go into the workplace better equipped with soft skills.
Yes.
They're better employees, better colleagues, you see? And so then they get the jobs and they keep them and they grow because we follow the alumni. But now, most organizations here don't have apprenticeships.
Yeah.
They don't have internships. Where are people going to learn these work experiences? And apprenticing and internships provide the opportunity for someone to learn how the world works. Yeah, the world of work. For instance, my daughter now is an intern. She's an intern in a firm in the UK, right? And there they have it as a program. Every year they advertise, and university students have to write in and compete amongst themselves to be recruited as interns.
Yes.
But it's a thing. We need to have that here, where different corporations can offer that. Or even the hospitality industry is actually good with interns, but you need it in manufacturing, you need it in different aspects of corporate.
Wow. You see, I was writing more because that one, you know, for me is a big one. And I would have really loved to explain, you know, to have more conversation, you know, on it, because it's a solution. And a lot of people, you know, that we've had conversations with have pointed out that there's that gap. Yeah, there's a gap. You know, there's a big gap here. It's not saying, we want to compare ourselves with the first world and we're in Africa. However, it is something that works. We just need to adapt it, you know, to Africa, you know, in terms of, because they are real challenges with being an intern. For our locals, some of the challenges, and the biggest one I know is transport. How do they get, you know, these interns get from A to B? Unlike in UK or US, they have parents who understand what internship means. They understand what apprentice, so they give them, you know, the money to be able to go. But some of the ones who need it here don't even have people. No, they don't have. But the thing is, even in the UK, they give them money. The organization gives them money. So they earn a basic wage, but the wage is enough for them to hire somewhere to live and to take the bus. So organizations have to be, you know, it's a partnership between government and private enterprise that has to be fostered. And you know, you talk about earning points. That's another way that organizations could earn points, because you know the skill development levy we have here. So that's would be another way for an organization to earn points, because it's able to demonstrate that it has internships or it has apprentices who do some time there. And you may or may not keep some of those people, because you can't keep hiring, but the fact is that you've given them that experience that they can put on the CV and they can go and look for a job. We really need to talk more, you know, about all those things, because you are there, you have a lot, you know, of experience, you know, and expertise. So, and I'm glad you're already putting that back through Amy Foundation, through Redwise, and a lot of other organizations who are, at the end of the day, making positive impact, you know, as well. Because like Breadline focuses on, it started as a reading program. That's how it was started 30 years ago, to supply books to the early childhood development centers, right? Because if a child can't read properly, they won't write properly. And that hampers the whole learning career. So, but Breadline now has gone beyond that. Breadline is now building is getting rid of pit latrines. And that is saving children's lives. It's bringing dignity to students who are in schools where they either avoid the pit latrines and go in the open field. And so it's about creating opportunities for self-empowerment, whether it's through mentorship, apprenticeship, internship, or the learning experience by providing clean toilets, flashing toilets, and books.
and even feeding programs, because Breadline does feeding as well.
Wow, Miss Ruth Kamau, Managing Director and owner of Ikaya Lodge and Conference Center, we salute you. We see you, we honor you, we thank you for the impact that you're making, and God that you serve that means so much to you will continue 100%. To cover your business, with his blanket, because he's a God of, he can do the impossible.
Yes, he loves that.
Exactly.
He loves that.
So keep holding on to him, keep believing in him, keep trusting him, and keep serving him, because that's what you're doing.
By his grace.
Yeah. Amen. So thank you,
my pleasure.
for what you're doing. And
my pleasure.
It's been a great pleasure. So we just want to say thank you in a small way by just presenting you.
Oh my God, it's got my face on it.
You might not like the picture.
Oh my gosh, these are my hair days.
Yes, and that we're going to talk about. So watch out, for that one. So we salute you. Just something to say thank you.
Oh my gosh, Dr. K, thank you.
We see you.
This is lovely.
It's a small token from us, just to say.
No, this is lovely.
It's like an award.
I am going to show this off.
Yeah, please, none of your daughters should drink from that cup. No, just tell them. This is your
going
cup
there,
now.
and it's going to be dusted all the time. Oh.
But thank you so much for putting back an inspiring lives, for being compassionate, for being, that empathy that you're showing, to others, and even yourself, as well, with the self-love, that you said, that's key. That's important. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And God
and you too. And you too. And may you be blessed in the same way.
I receive.
And continue to be abundant.
I receive.
Amen.
So in closing, that's all. Whew, I know we've been talking. I just want you to just give words of encouragement. Not that all what you've said won't encourage a lot of people, but we want you to speak directly to whoever you want to speak to.
Okay.
And just give words of encouragement.
Words of encouragement.
Yes, please.
Okay. I don't know what else I can say that can let you know that you're fully loved just the way you are. That you are here for a reason, and it will unfold in front of you as you trust it. So keep believing in yourself. Love what you do. Respect people. Remember to be humble. I'm trying that out as well because I know it's so important. I'm actually not trying it out. I'm practicing it. And I know that I'm not perfect, but I just want you to believe that you are fully loved, that you were created for a purpose. And that's really important. If we all knew that, it would be just a kinder, more gentler world.
Beautiful. Created for a purpose, living your purpose you shared as well, being humble, respecting people, keep believing in yourself, and you're fully loved. I salute you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Karibu. Asante.
Merci beaucoup.
Ne pas de quoi, c'est mon plaisir.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. It's been humbling, it's been inspiring, and we believe that you've been inspired as well, just hearing Ms. Ruth Kamau share a story. And if you missed any of it, just replay, and do share, subscribe, like on our YouTube and Facebook and other social media. And as well, do support Ikaya Lodge. We will be sharing their social media handles, at the end. As you support a business, as you should support a woman, as you support a black woman for that way in business, a lot of people will benefit. Trust me. So if you know anyone that might need accommodation, catering, some of the services they provide, a venue for events, just reach out to them. I'm sure Ruth and her team will be able to help you and make it happen. They're professionals. This place is Beautiful. You just need to come and see it. So
Thank you.
peaceful, quiet,
Thank you.
has an African theme. And if you know anyone coming from outside South Africa, outside Cape Town, this is the place to lodge. And the prices are affordable and, reasonable. So check them out, support them. That's all we've got time for. Remember to take bold steps. Remember God is love, and stay safe, stay healthy. Stay positive and love you all. God bless.
God bless.